Thanks so much for joining me. So today we're going to make something with scraps. Now, I'm not a scrap hoarder. I do not waste my time and energy organising, categorising and saving scraps. I'll use what I've got, and if I don't use them all, whatever's left goes in the bin. Okay, life's too short to hoard scraps, but you know, they are useful. So I will be making what I can out of this pile of scraps, and whatever's left will go in the bin. Now, to go with this project, I have a digital that I'm going to share for absolutely free. All you've got to do is follow the link to my Ko-fi below and go and download it. Now, this was previously part of a collection that I offered on my Facebook group. It was part of a collection. And if you're in my subscription group, you've already got this. Okay, it's part of the Vintage Florals collection that I've given to my subscription ladies. So all you need to do, print it, fussy cut them. I'm going to show you another way of doing it if you don't want to print. Okay, because you might think, well, you know, we're using scraps, why are you going to go print something? So what we're going to do is we've also got some stamps. Okay, so let's get cracking. So let's just move my scraps to one side. Okay, so here are my fussy cut butterflies, and here is a partly stamped on piece of coffee dyed paper for my stamped butterflies. Now, I have individual stamps of butterflies, but they're kind of not realistic. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ink part of this stamp. I'm going to try anyway. I'll just put it in shot so you can see instead of being all over. So I'll have the word in as well. Okay. Hopefully it'll stamp nicely, because this ink pad is renowned for being quite dry, I find. Okay, so we'll see if that stamps nicely. Oh, not bad, not bad, not bad. Okay, so we'll have this one down here as well. I don't want this one because it's a little bit on the large side for this project. So we'll go for this smaller one here, and we'll ink that as well. So I'll just do a couple stamped, okay, so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to leave a bit of space there because we're going to, you know, rip out the sections. Okay. There we go, that'll do for me, that'll do nicely. Obviously, you don't have to do butterflies, you could use flowers, you can use stickers, you can use anything you want. Just take the principle and run with it. So I'm going to rip this. So I'm ripping it kind of purposefully, I suppose, in a kind of a sort of square shape. I'm going to end up ripping off some of that writing, but I'm not too worried. Okay, and we're just going to make it a little bit, because I don't want these to be huge. They don't want to be huge. Okay, and then I will, when we've finished the project, I'll tell you what you can do with them. So let's just get these ready, and then the rest of the project should go along swimmingly. There's going to be a pause in between whilst I go and sew mine. You don't have to sew them. If you don't have a sewing machine, you could sew them by hand. You could draw stitching on with a black pen. Loads of different things you can do. Right, so what I'm going to do in the first instance is I'm just going to ink these pieces of ripped out image so that it is nice and vintage looking. Okay. This is a good kind of thing to do, you know, when you've done a project and you've got your papers left over. Make things like this, and then your embellishments will coordinate with whatever project you're making. Right, so I'm going to start. So you need to start with some sort of base, okay? I'm going to use this music paper. It's partly being used, and I'm just going to rip it with a ruler. Okay. All right, now, how big do I want my strips? Let me think. About, don't want them too big. About that big. Okay, So I'll do one with a stamped image and I'll do one with a printed image, and then I will make all of these that I've fussy cut. I will make a full batch of these because you're more productive if you make in batches. It's scientifically proven. You're more effective with your time if you do one thing at a time rather than jumping from one to another. Right, so now let me think how long I want them. Don't want them too long because I'm going to make mine into either page tabs or embellishments, something like that. So about that long. Yeah, about that long. And this base piece I'm going to ink. All right. You can make them as long as you like. You could put as much or as little as you like on them. So then you just get your bits and bobs. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got. We've got these nice florals here. So let's have some of that. And the trick is to not overthink it. Okay, don't overthink it. Just rip and go, as it were. I'll have this bit here. This is a nice bit. Okay, I'll ink that. Alright, ink that. And I'm just going to get a collection of things and then we'll see what we can come up with. This is a bit of greaseproof paper. This adds nice kind of crinkly texture. Okay. So there. And we've got that there. It doesn't matter if it's upside down. And then you just want to kind of stagger them a little bit. Okay, let's find some nice fabric. That's quite nice, isn't it? But I like this tea-dyed one better. We're just going to have this. We're not going to mess about. Okay. And then that's that one. Okay. I'm just going to actually just clip those together a moment. All right, that's one little cluster. So I suppose it's kind of like making clusters. It's the same principle. You can have them in any orientation. I'm doing mine long ways. Okay, let's have some of this. Turn it that way. And you'll note that I'm not gluing them down just yet, because I might change my mind and I might have them a different orientation. We've got some leftover digital here as well. Have some of that on. And like I say, you can have as many layers or as few layers as you like. Put that there, and that on top, and that there. Let's have a bit of fabric. So I've got some of this. I've got all sorts of stuff here. I really do like this greaseproof. Crinkly stuff. It's lush. It's lovely. We'll have that going under there. Yeah, like that. Okay. And if you keep your clusters kind of central, then if you decide it's a bit long at one end, you can just rip that bit off. Okay. And we want some fabric. I'm not going to be able to rip that very well on camera, am I? Got a little bit of white fabric here. Let's see if we can. So this is just a cotton bed sheet that I picked up from somewhere and boil washed, and I use it for all sorts, and it's great because you can tea dye it and stamp on it and all sorts. So you know, you can even pick, if you want to buy them new, you can get them fairly cheap, just a plain flat fitted sheet. If you get a single, it'll cost you about £4 or £5 from somewhere, and it's brilliant because it's cotton and it's cheaper than buying it in a fabric shop. Funnily enough, rip it, make it as raggy as possible, and I'm going to add that layer under there as well. So we've got lots of layers going on there. Okay, lots of layers. Have that there like that, so you can see them all. Then you just literally add your image. So there's my stamped image. Okay, I'm going to clip those together. Okay, and you'll note that we've got longer sections here. So if you decide that you want it smaller, you can just rip it. And then let's have one with a lovely butterfly. So there's loads in this collection. You know, the hardest bit is just cutting them out, but you know, it doesn't take very long. Literally minutes. Which one do I like? I like them all. Quite like this blue one. That's pretty, isn't it? So we'll have that one. Okay. And then all you need to do is either glue them. You could hand sew with a running stitch, in, out, shake it all about, in, out the other way. Or I'm going to run these through my sewing machine, so bear with me and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so these are sewn, so I kept the clip on whilst it sews a little bit to catch, then remove the clip and just keep going. Now it looks nice with black thread, but whenever I rethread my machine, it gets unhappy, so I don't touch it because I've done mine in white. Now you'll also see you can either just sew in a straight line, or here I've gone, you know, wonky and curvy. You can do any stitch you like. You could go over it a few times. It just looks good. And what we're going to do is we're going to trim these threads, but we're going to keep them quite long, because it can look cool. Threads sometimes annoy me, but sometimes they just look really nice. And then what you can do, if you so desire, and if I can find mine, I've got some little words somewhere. You can add, can I find them? Oh, hold on up. Just hold on a minute. Just talk amongst yourselves while I look for my little words. I've got some little words somewhere. What have I done with them? No, I've lost them. Let me just see if I can find them. Yeah, they were just out of reach. So then, you know, I sometimes use up my scraps stamping as well, stamping words. Or these were actually printables for one of my, I can't remember which kit. And I sat one evening watching, you know, YouTube or whatever you do, and made a heap. So, and then, you know, you might have some little labels, you can add them on. So let's get some glue. You know, things that you've got left over from other projects. I've always got leftovers. So we'll add that little label there. That's cute, isn't it? So these are just stamped using the Tim Holtz field notes, I think it is. Yeah. And then let's have a little, so we have a little word. Special moments. I don't really want to cover up. Let's have a look what we've got. Don't really want to, I like this. I think I like these little labels that I've previously made. Okay, and we'll have that. It looks nice at that side, so if it's not broke, don't fix it. Okay, so we're going to keep it there. Oh, I quite like that vintage. Now that would look nice straight across there or just down there. Let's have a little glue, a little bit of glue. Let's have it there. So you can add your words, you can leave them plain, you could add some little flowers, you could add some whatever. Let's have a look what we got here. These are all like document. We'll have that. We'll have that. We're not wasting, we're using up what we've got. Okay, so these I've made previously. All right, and there you go. Now, how can you use these? Well, you can use these, you could put them at the top of a tag. You could line them on a pocket, on a tuck. You could make a little belly band with those, glue them in on two sides and slip something in. You can have them as a side page tab or a top page tab. Lots and lots of uses for them. So those are a lovely, quick and easy idea for using up your scraps. And don't forget, you're getting a free digital. So go and have some fun creating. I'm going to go and use up all of these scraps and all of these butterflies, and you'll see a big pile on the thumbnail. Oh, I've got washi tape. I didn't add that, did I? Oh well, sometimes less is more. So thanks for watching. Take care and have fun with those scraps. Bye for now.